When you're flying the largest passenger aircraft ever built, every emergency becomes a logistical nightmare, especially when you're halfway between continents and one of your engines is trying to burn itself alive. On May 28, 2017, the crew of Qantas Flight 94 learned this lesson firsthand. Their Airbus A380, the Superjumbo known as the King of the Skies, was cruising peacefully at 34,000 feet over the Pacific when the calm was shattered by a thunderous explosion from the right wing. In seconds, warnings flooded the cockpit, smoke alarms screamed, and the pilots faced a terrifying question. Was their massive aircraft about to become an inferno over open water? This is the story of how a microscopic cleaning mistake nearly brought down one of the most advanced machines ever built. The flight had begun routinely at Los Angeles International Airport. Destination, Melbourne, Australia. The A380, registration VH-OQA, was stuffed to near capacity, 569 tons at takeoff, just 6 tons shy of its absolute maximum. After lifting off, the massive plane clawed its way to its initial cruise altitude of 32,000 feet. The captain and first officer settled into their rhythm, eventually handing control to the relief crew for the long haul across the Pacific. 2 hours in, the new pilots requested a climb to 34,000 feet. Air traffic control approved. The 4 massive Rolls-Royce Trent 900 engines spooled up to 93% N1 power. As the jet passed through 32,500 feet, the cockpit shuddered violently. A deafening bang echoed through the fuselage. Then, silence, except for the insistent chime of the ECAM, the aircraft's central warning computer. The message was clear. Engine 4, the outboard engine on the right wing, was in trouble. The intermediate pressure turbine was overspeeding, redlining. ENG4N2 over limit flashed on the screens. The pilots in the rest area felt the jolt and sprinted back to the flight deck. The first officer began running the ECAM checklist, but this was no simple failure. The FADEC, the Full Authority Digital Engine Control, essentially the engine's brain, was failing, defaulting to an alternate mode. Because one engine was now in this degraded state, the crew had to manually reconfigure the other 3 engines to match. In an emergency, even the computers need babysitting. They set the auto thrust appropriately, stabilized the plane, and breathed for a moment. But the crisis was far from over. Flight attendants relayed passenger reports. Flames and sparks were shooting from engine 4. The captain, now back in his seat, took control. The first officer briefed him. On the display, engine vibration readings maxed out at 10 units, the top of the scale. The crew initiated the abnormal vibration checklist, pulling engine 4 back to idle. Then, the situation worsened. ENG4 fire blazed across the screen. In aviation, you triage warnings. Fire beats vibration every time. The pilots followed the fire drill. Fuel shut off, fire bottle discharged. The threat of an uncontrolled fire over the Pacific seemed contained. But now they faced the Superjumbo's ultimate handicap. Where do you land this beast? Flight 94 was roughly equidistant between Hawaii and Los Angeles. Both had good weather. Both had runways long enough, barely. The captain made the call. Turn back to LAX. Qantas had mechanics there, better support, and the familiarity of home base. The first officer sent an ACARS message to company headquarters. Returning to LAX due to engine fire. The crew declared a pan, the international signal of urgency, and began descending to 29,000 feet. As they turned east, the pilots faced a cascade of decisions. Los Angeles had light easterly winds, meaning a tailwind landing on runway 25 left, not ideal, but acceptable. They chose 25 left because it supported autoland, whereas the opposite runway did not. And autoland was critical. They were landing at nearly 500 tons, far above normal landing weight. The autoland system could manage the approach profile with precision, ensuring a gentle touchdown to avoid overstressing the gear. Sometimes, the best piloting decision is to let the computers do their job. They needed to dump fuel. Over the ocean, they circled 140 miles offshore, releasing thousands of pounds of Jet A into the Pacific. Much better than dumping over a school, as the captain dryly noted. Their target? 461 tons, giving them an 861-meter safety margin on the runway. As they approached, the tailwind increased from 3 to 6 knots. They recalculated, still within limits. The autoland system captured the glide slope, and the Superjumbo descended through the clouds. The touchdown was buttery smooth, rate of descent well under 300 feet per minute. The pilot monitoring called out speeds, the auto brakes engaged, and the massive plane slowed. Brake temperatures soared to 535 degrees Celsius, nearly 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, but the A380 absorbed the punishment. It taxied clear, all 410 souls on board safe. 2 for Qantas pilots, 0 for destroyed A380s. But the investigation had only just begun. 2 questions haunted the investigators. Why did the engine explode? And why did it take the pilots so long to shut it down? The second question had a technical answer. The ECAM didn't issue a vibration checklist. It prioritized the FADEC failure first. The crew followed procedure, step by step. They weren't slow, they were systematic. The real mystery lay deep inside the shattered engine. Rolls-Royce engineers tore down the Trent 900. What they found was terrifying. The low-pressure turbine Stage 2 blades, LPT-2, had internally corroded and shattered. The fragments had torn through the engine like shrapnel, causing catastrophic secondary damage. But how does a precision-machined turbine blade, forged from advanced alloys, corrode from the inside? The trail led back to July 2015. During routine cleaning, maintenance crews had used specific agents to wash the hollow blades. The cleaning solution left microscopic residue inside the blades. Over nearly 2 years, that residue chemically attacked the metal, weakening it until it cracked under the stress of full-power climb. There was another twist. The fire warning was false. The sensors, worn by age and vibration, had triggered erroneously. There were sparks and flames from the disintegration, but no sustained combustion. The fire bottle had been discharged into an engine that wasn't actually burning, but the pilots couldn't know that. They followed the checklist, and it saved the plane. The fix was deceptively simple. Rolls-Royce revised the cleaning procedure, adding a pressurized water rinse to ensure no residue remained. They inspected other engines, finding 12 with similar corrosion issues, and replaced the affected blades. The Superjumbo flew on, its reputation intact. But the lesson of QF94 echoes through every hangar and maintenance bay. Sometimes, the smallest oversight, a chemical residue invisible to the eye, can bring a giant to its knees. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden dangers of modern aviation, hit that like button for Inside Aviation Investigation. And let us know in the comments, would you trust autoland with your life? Or do you want a human's hands on the controls?